Join us for a transformative journey of learning, growth, and innovation. Explore cutting-edge business trends, gain insights from industry leaders, and network with global professionals. Get ready to transform with iCentra. Stay tuned for updates, exciting topics, and renowned guest speakers. Keep an eye on all our social media pages for more details. Your transformation journey continues here. Transform by iCentra.
Every day, businesses face new challenges. From managing complex operations to keeping up with the latest technology. For over 15 years, iCentra has been a trusted partner dedicated to transforming people and organizations for excellent performance. Leading organizations across industries rely on our expertise to achieve tangible results. We deliver comprehensive value through a suite of integrated solutions. Enterprise transformation, guiding your journey through digital, organizational, and agile transformations. Cybersecurity and GRC, fortifying your defenses with cybersecurity, IT governance, regulatory compliance, and risk management. Strategy and execution, steering strategic planning with strategy management, change management, PMO solutions, and advisory. Learning and talent, empowering people and processes through learning and development and talent optimization. Our commitment to excellence is amplified through strategic partnerships with industry leaders. Partner with iCentra today and experience true transformation.
It is a pleasure to welcome you to the April edition of the Transform by iCentra webinar series. This is a global thought leadership platform where we bring together experts, leaders, and practitioners to explore the most critical issues shaping today's organizations. These conversations are meant to equip individuals and organizations with the insight they need, not just to adapt, but to also lead in an evolving world. My name is Esther Atitebi, and I will be your host today. So we're generating more data than at any point in human history, yet trust in how this data is used has been even more fragile. Also, organizations today are not struggling to adopt technology, they are struggling to control it because while AI, data, and digital systems are evolving, governance, accountability, and trust are struggling to keep up, and that gap is where the risk really lies. So the question is, are organizations, as organizations race to adopt AI and digital technologies, are we actually building smarter enterprises, or are we just creating more complex and less accountable systems? Now, this premise has informed our webinar focus for this month. The topic we'll be discussing sits right at the center of digital transformation today, and that is AI, data privacy, and GRC, building trust and resilience in the digital enterprise. So over the next 2 hours, we will be exploring how organizations can navigate this evolving landscape, how data privacy can move from just being seen as compliance to strategy, and how AI can be governed in a responsible way. Lastly, we'll also look at how GRC can serve as a unifying capability to drive better decisions and sustainable performance. And to guide this conversation, we have incredible panel of experts with us today. And so I'm just going to introduce them and then we get started. The first we have on our panel is Ogenyi Eji Silvanus. Ogenyi is is currently the president, Isaka Abuja chapter, and the head Information Systems Audit Unit, Nigerian Revenue Service. I'm sure we are going to see his picture pop up on the screen soon. Ogenye is an information systems audit and a digital risk leader with over 15 years of experience in IT governance, cybersecurity, and enterprise risk management. He currently leads the information asset audits in the Nigerian Revenue Service. He holds multiple ISO certifications and serves as the Isaka Abuja chapter president. And our next speaker is Mr. Rex Abitogun. Mr. Rex is the lead consultant and CEO of Management Edge. So Mr. Rex is a technology-driven professional with strong expertise in system designs and IT project management. He brings over 2 decades of practical approach to designing and implementing solutions that actually work in real environment and backed by solid industry knowledge and a collaborative and results-driven mindset. Then the last but not the least, our final speaker that will be joining me on the panel is Mr. Taufik Babaeju, who is the CEO of iCentra, and he brings over 25 years of experience, operating at the intersection of strategy, leadership, governance, and transformation. His work spans across multiple sectors, focusing on helping organizations to build structure that drive long-term value and not just short-term results. So thank you and welcome once again to all my panelists. Thank you so much, Mr. Ogenyi, for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Rex. Thank you, Mr. Babaeju. And so we're going to go straight into the conversation. Now, if you have a question while the session is ongoing, feel free to drop it in the comment section. And once it's time for Q&A, we're definitely going to address it. So welcome once again to today's edition of the webinar. So I'll begin with a question and I'll start with Mr. Ogenyi. From your perspective, why has trust become one of the most critical currency in the digital enterprise today? That will serve as the question to usher us in as your opening remarks. So Mr. Ogenyi, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Let me start by using something that we can relate with on a daily basis. Yeah, in relationship, generally in relationship, one of the major currency, the hard currency in any relationship, husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, and fiancé and fiancée, however we put it, is that trust. So once trust is broken, it's very, very difficult to put it together. And so that's what it is with IT systems. So trust is that currency that people rely on to be able to do whatever they want to do on a system. And so once that trust is broken, it is very, very difficult to rebuild it and to sustain it back. So let me put it that way as a way of opening remark. Thank you, Esther.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. Now I'll go to Mr. Babaeju for your opening remarks. So as organizations are rapidly adopting AI and digital technologies, do you believe from your own perspective that we are building smarter enterprises, or are we just, or maybe just more exposed ones? So I'll take my questions again. As organizations are adopting AI rapidly and also digital technologies, from your own perspective, do you believe that we are building smarter enterprises or just more exposed ones?
Thank you so very much, Esther, for inviting me to be part of this session. And my opening remarks. I don't know whether it's an opening remark you want me to make or you are already asking the question. So
It's
that's
supposed to
my
usher you into your opening remark.
okay. So what I'll say is where the world is getting smarter. We're building intelligent systems, but we're opening up to more risk. And why do I say this? We've seen more organizations these days accelerating towards adoption of AI and digital technologies. And also, we're also seeing fundamental shifts, not just in how work is done, but in how decisions are made. However, one thing is for sure why capability is increasing, in the adoption of AI, governance is not always keeping at risk. And when in my view, I'll answer your question to say that the real challenge is no longer innovation or faster or smarter organization. It is how we govern the innovation and build trust, accountability and sustained value within organizations or the society itself. So I look forward to to sharing some more perspective on how organization can approach AI, digital transformation, and be more deliberate, not just as a technology initiative, but as an enterprise capability supported by strong, governance structure. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. I think one thing you've said, which I'm holding on to, and I know we're going to discuss more about that, is the importance of governance. Thank you for sharing. Now to Mr. Rex Abitogun. Data privacy also is increasingly becoming a broad level concern. So why do you think that organizations still treat data privacy as a compliance checkbox rather than seeing data privacy as a strategic asset or a strategic driver of trust?
Excellent. Thank you very much for that question. And it's good to be part of this month's webinar. And I must commend you and your team for what you're doing at iCentra, especially in promoting the knowledge of GRC, as well as helping organizations to know what needs to be done when you talk about artificial intelligence. On your question, it is difficult really because most organizations are yet to understand what data privacy means. It is difficult because board level, top hierarchy of the organizations are yet to understand that the issue of privacy is not about IT. It is not about the tech people within the organization. It is not about having just a storage facility or having a fancy term about having our data in the cloud. It is about governance. And when you understand what governance means as it relates to organizational sustainability, then most organizations will know that privacy is beyond an operational thing. It is something that involves both major stakeholders from the top, from the board to the least person in-house. So why do people treat it with kid glove? The reason is simple. The reason is that while some people see the term AI as a fancy thing, rather than understanding that when you talk about artificial intelligence, it is about understanding, analyzing the risk involved, right from the data you collect to train your AI models, as well as how you store this data, you collect this data. So it is a whole lot across the data value chain. So until when we understand what it means, to secure ourselves, then we'll know that we need to look at data privacy beyond just an operational thing. And I'll give you a quick example. If you bought a vehicle, let's say the Lagos Danfo bus, and you move from one place to the other, this Danfo bus stop at different bus stop. Take, for example, you're going from island to mainland. You possibly will have about 3 or different 4 bus stops. And that's the same way our data is. Imagine a telecom organization that that need to register, that need to do SIM registration for subscribers. You develop an app, and this app is riding on another platform, stored in another continent, possibly. And this data, as it travels, it means that this data will stop at different bus stops. So from the point at which we're collecting that data to the first bus stop of saying, oh, we have collected this data and we store this data, to you that you're working in that telecom facility, it is more like just having that data for KYC purpose, or maybe in compliance with, because NIMC requests that, or because NCC requests that you need to register or SIM, you do that. But this data is stopping at the bus stop of every link to your process. So when we understand the process or what is involved in thinking about the data to collect, how to collect this data, to store this data, then you will know that there's a whole lot that is involved in the data that we collect, or the data that we store. So the issue of privacy is a very serious issue. And because it involves individuals across different organizations, because it involves different apps across different platforms, and it involves different jurisdictions, then it needs to be taken seriously. So that's why I see it as more of a governance thing. So we need to get the board more involved in terms of performing oversight functions. And once that is done, then everybody within the organization will take it serious. So when we have more people getting to know their responsibility, then definitely there will be more seriousness in terms of how we manage our data. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that insight. If you've just joined us, again, we're discussing on the topic AI, data privacy, and GRC, building trust and resilience in the digital enterprise. All right, so let's move further. And now my question will be directed to Mr. Babaeju. Whilst he's answering the question, I also want to get Mr. Silvanus' insight on the question as well. So to Mr. Babaeju, do you think that organizations are truly prepared for the risks that come with accelerated AI adoption? If you say yes, why? If you say no, we'll also like to hear your insight. And then once we hear from you, we also get from insight from Mr. Silvanus. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Esther. This is a tough question to answer, and it's not a yes or no answer for this. I think we're underestimating the risk with AI adoption. I think earlier on this week, we saw Elon Musk go to court against OpenAI, challenging, the intent, original intent of the company from not to profit to profit, and telling us what the risk of AI could be in the next few years to humanity as a whole. But let's limit our conversation within organization. I think many organizations are underestimating it. Number one is data risk. which is poor or, biased data leads, to scale poor decision. So when you don't have the right data, you will not have the right decision. That's number one. Then accountability risk within organizations, so which is also unclear ownership of AI-driven decision, who is taking decision of AI within the organization. The next one is trust risk, which is failure in AI. Failure in AI, how it can quickly damage reputation of organizations. So for me, I think AI doesn't just automate decisions. To an extent, it will amplify them. So whatever we're doing within organization without structure, the risk, we're multiplying the risk at scale right now. So for me, I think it's not a yes or no answer. Yes, but we're underestimating the risk of AI across data, accountability, and trust. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. I think one of the things I captured, you said you believe that we are underestimating the adoption of AI, right, where we are underestimating it. And you also said that once we have the right data, it helps us to make the right decision, but there is still that emphasis on governance, and we're going to dive into that soon. So Mr. Silvanus, do you also want to add on to that based on what Mr. Babayeju had said?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you once again. Yeah, I think the whole world is talking AI now. It's a topical issue. Everybody is just AI, AI. Just the other day, rather yesterday, I think my last born, I think barely 6 years old, usually take my wife's phone and then designs people. He created a picture of me using AI, created a picture of everybody in the house using AI. So the adoption is on the increase. Even newborns now, they know about AI, they can use AI. Honestly, so to answer your question, I will say more like organization, are we truly prepared for the risks that come with the accelerated adoption? I will say not quite. We are not quite there. Of course, everybody is excited about AI. Everyone wants faster decisions, smarter systems, lower cost, organizations particularly. But when it comes to managing the risk, we are still trying to catch our breath. Right now, it feels a bit like hosting a big party. You know what a big party is like? Everybody is in the party hall, dancing hall, loud music, everybody is dancing, but nobody is quite sure of where the fire exits are. That is exactly what we are doing. We are quite excited. We are using AI, but as it is now, are we really looking at the risk that come with it? So many organizations are still trying to figure out the basics, more like, we have the right controls? Do we understand the data going into the AI? Can we actually explain the decisions coming out of AI? And meanwhile, AI is already everywhere, sometimes officially, sometimes, let's just say, people use it creatively to just get their work done faster. But the truth is that technology have moved faster than the guardrails that are supposed to be in place. Frameworks from groups like the iCentra represents and NIPS are helping, but adoption is still very uneven. So organizations prepare for the risk. To answer the question, I'm not sure. We are not fully prepared for the risk. Of course, we are making progress, if I may say that, but I know we are learning, we are still adjusting, and we are putting controls in place for now, but we are not there yet. That's what I can say about that for now.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. Again, what I picked from that is, yes, organizations are excited about the adoption of AI. It makes work easier and faster, but it's also important that we are mindful of the risks that adopting AI poses so that we are prepared for it as well. Thank you so much for sharing. Now to Mr. Bitogun. We've spoken about governance as well. So how can organizations move from a reactive data protection to more of a proactive one in terms of governance?
So, excellent question. In terms of moving from being reactive organization to proactive organization, which is what is common in our environment. In the last couple of days, in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, there has been series of news about data breach within the country, ranging from the small organizations to the big organizations, from private organizations to public organizations. So what that tells you is that, and I mean, all the organizations that have had some challenge with their systems in the last couple of days, a lot of them are doing a whole lot in terms of reputational damage, in terms of doing everything possible to secure, to now protect their system. But imagine if most of these organizations, or some of these organizations before now, have taken the issue of data protection seriously. I'm sure some of the challenges that we're having, we won't be having it. As it stands today, we have a lot of small and medium businesses across the country. We have, and if you look at it, the question, if you ask anybody about, do you even know about the Nigeria Data Protection Act or the regulations put in place? Most people don't know about it. And some people that know about it, oh, is it not about privacy? Yes, I protect my password. But it's beyond that. It's beyond that. So there's need for more awareness. Kudos to Nigeria Data Protection Commission in terms of what they've been doing within the last 2 years in terms of creating more awareness. But beyond that is that there should be some sense of ownership at the organization level. There should be some sense of accountability. So today, if there's a breach, one of the things that we found that is most common is, is about blame game. Oh, where's the IT person? Where's the IT person? What did you do? What did you not do? All right. And the IT person feels, oh, well, after all, we have a privacy policy. This privacy policy is invisible. All right. Do people understand their rights? All right. So when we have issues that has to do with being reactive rather than being proactive, we'll continue to have some of these challenges that we're facing at the moment. And for organizations to be more proactive means that organizations need to understand first what the law says. And second would be to internalize that the law, that is the Nigeria Data Protection Act. How do you align the act with your governance policy within your organization? And that's why earlier on, that's why I talk about the need for organizations to understand that the issue of privacy is not about legal compliance on consent. It is not about having an IT person in place that will just have a certification on data privacy. It starts with the board. The board must understand that their role, the way they are serious about not losing money in bank or investment, the same way they should be serious about awareness when it comes to privacy and what need to be in place to safeguard people's data or the data subjects' information. When this is done, then we know that we're moving from level 1 to level 2 or from level 2 to level 3. So as it stands now, most of the awareness comes from some stakeholders, practitioners within the ecosystem. But we need to go beyond that. Every organization needs to have a rethink about how they treat privacy issues within their organization, and they need to have, they're not just, it's not just about having the policy. They must live the policy. The policy must be active. There are a couple of organizations that you walk into, you will see, oh, they have this fan sitting. So issue of privacy is not about nice to have. It is a must have, and having that must have, it is something that we must live, adopt, and preach about it every day, so that even the least person within the organization understand what it means to understand privacy issues and take it more serious. And I think that way we will have more, we will have increase in the knowledge as well as the gaps that exist at the moment. Thank you.
All right. Well, that was a lot to pack. Thank you so much. I think one thing I took note of is data breaches are happening not just to smaller organizations, but also to bigger organizations. And we don't want to start doing reputational damage when it happens, right? It's important that we're more proactive, that there is more awareness really from individual to organization level as to, what data protection really is. And we have policies and, governance in place that is actually being implemented, and actually works, not just having an IT department, but having a system that works and ensures that we are secure when it comes to our data. Thank you for sharing. Now to Mr. Silvanos, and then I'll also like to get feedbacks from Mr. Babaeju afterwards. Many organizations, and just the way we spoke about data protection earlier, many organizations also still treat GRC. And for those that are not familiar with what GRC means, it means governance, risks, and compliance. So many organizations still treat GRC as a compliance function. So how should leaders rethink GRC as a strategic capability?
All right, Esther, you are very correct. You're right. That is actually the problem, the mindset that many organizations have. It's basically more like, oh, it's a necessary evil. That is governance, risk, and compliance. Oh, if we don't, oh, it's, everybody is doing it, we have to do it. Compliance. If we don't do it, they will come after us. And that mindset is actually the real bottleneck. So uh, I don't know. Sometimes, of course, I'm in compliance, more like internal audit. So when they see us, basically, they refer to us as police. So everybody will just sit up. But we have to look beyond that. You only hear from them when I hear from people, especially the leadership, when something has gone wrong, or when it's time to tick boxes just to, yeah, come and do this, come and do that. That is just to ensure that everything is all right. But leaders need to flip that script already. So GLC shouldn't be that team that says, no, you can't do that. We should look beyond, because it's because we operate that way. That's why they are beginning to like, oh, see us as people that are stopping show. So as GLC team members, we should not look like that team that like, you can't do this. This is a no-go area. Rather, we should be the team that say, yes, we can actually do this, but this is the best way to do it without getting into trouble. So if we begin to relate with leaders in that way, then we begin to see GRC in another perspective. So instead of being a brake pedal, matching brake all the time, I think we should be more like a Google Map. We know what Google Map does, guiding you to where you need to go to, and that's what we should do. Let me give a practical example. In my organization, there was an application that was deployed, and then they came to our department to demonstrate it. And then after the demonstration, the head of my department was like, so area, we ought to have been part of it from the inception, from the beginning. Why did you avoid coming to us so that we can be? And then the person that led the team said, we came initially to meet you, but you told us that this and this and this are the things that will make it not to succeed. So because of that, we avoided you completely. Of course, it's on a very light note, but it's kind of serious. So because they see us already, those of us in compliance, GRC, as store shopper kind of. So instead of being a brake pedal, like I say, let us be that Google map that will guide them to the right location. You understand? And that means bring GRC in early. So whatever we do in our organization, let's consider if GRC now can present themselves that, oh, we are not showstopper, we guide you into doing the right thing. Of course, we bring them in from inceptions. So we use them to support our decision, not just enforce rule, focusing on helping the business move faster, safely, but just to like make sure things are done well. You understand? So in simple terms, GRC is not about saying out of trouble. It's about helping the business to take right risk the right way. Let me stop here for Mr. Taufik. So come in, please.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Babaeju. Do you want to share um, your comment on that? Okay.
Hello, can you hear me? So, sorry, I think I was a bit muted. I said,
Yes.
what else would you want me to add when you have scholarly finished the conversation? But I'll add something a little bit. I think when we talk about GRC, I think the mistake most organizations make is to see it as a regulatory, um, issue, as not as a culture. And this is where the rubber meets the road. So leadership needs to understand that when we talk about governance, risk, and compliance, that is the job of leadership. It's not it's not optional, because even in business, one of the highest thing we need to look at in business is governance. What is guiding our decisions, and what risk are we open to, and are we complying? So GRC shouldn't be an issue about, yes, is NDPC coming for me? Is not a policeman and a criminal kind of relationship. We should understand that it's more of an organizational culture. And I'll give an example from, you mentioned your organization, which we've had the privilege of working closely with, when we were designing where risk should be when setting up the risk, apparatus for the organization. It wasn't, it was a no-brainer that the architecture and where compliance should sit should actually have, direct, you know, um, reporting or relationship with leadership. And I think one of the mistakes that we make in our organization is to treat GRC as a department. Like I said, not a culture. For me, when we enter any organization and about to to institutionalize this culture, once we don't have a leadership buy-in, it's a go no go conversation, okay, decision. At that point, if we're not getting the listening here of leadership, then we might as well just say, I'm sorry, we would love to work with you, but under these circumstances, we can, because the change will never happen if it's not led by leadership. So we should start having more leaders, just like Mr. Bitogun already mentioned. It should be a board conversation. It should be a leadership conversation. It's not a departmental, or units responsibility. So it's not an IT conversation. It's a leadership and board, board level conversation, and that is why the organization exists in the first place. Thank you so very much. I hope I've been able to contribute a little bit to this scholarly presentation of Mr. Silvanus.
Thank you very much for sharing. One of the things you said that I held on to is GRC must sit at leadership because leadership buy-in is so important, and organizations shouldn't treat GRC just as compliance or checking the box, or I think like Mr. Ogenyi said, or maybe that was you that, the NDPC are coming for us, or things like that, but it should be a culture that is actually integrated into the organization. It's literally this is how we do things around here. So thank you so much for sharing. Now to Mr. Abitogun. What are some of the common gaps? Because I know we've discussed a bit about data protection as well, and even the role of the, the NDPC. So what are some of the common gaps that organizations face when they are trying to align with, regulations like the NDPR or the GDPR?
Thank you. Excellent question. From practitioner perspective, the common gaps lies in people lacking knowledge of their processes. And when I talk about their processes, for example, organizations collect data, but what value do they place on the data? All right. And what informed the decision of collecting the data in the first place? Are you collecting the data based on nice to collect? All right. So part of the major challenge is understanding the principles that guides data privacy, the principles that relate to lawfulness, principles of data minimization, and consent as it is stated in the Nigeria Data Protection Act. So you visit an organization or you're auditing an organization processes, you find out that they don't even understand, they don't have record of their processing activities. You ask the details relating to the data they collect. How does this data relate to some other processes within the organization? In other words, data mapping. All right, it is a big challenge. All right, so these are major issues that that is affecting compliance issues. For us, for as much as we are achieving a whole lot in terms of implementation of the Nigeria Data Protection Act, and I think we have one of the best in terms of implementation as well as when you look at the whole Africa or even within the continent. In some jurisdiction, they have laws that are not universal like in Nigeria. For example, in the US, you have more laws that are more of sectoral law. So you have law that focus on health sector, in like the Health Information Portability and Accountability Act. You have the California Consumer Protection Act in US. These are different jurisdictions, different states within the US. But in Nigeria, we have one single law, and this law is a whole. It is encompassing, and it means that one of the things that we need to focus on in terms of compliance is that, like my other speaker said, that we should look beyond compliance. It is not because NDPC says this or because this person said this. It is about what is the implication of this. If I'm collecting data, why am I collecting the data? For what purpose? And who do I need to inform? Starting from the data subject itself, all right, to understand that this is why we collect your data. And at any point in time, you can opt out, all right? But I've seen cases where you have a bank that develop a new app for the purpose of a process. And as a customer, when you say, I want to opt out, you remove the you believe that you remove the person, and I'm sure it has happened to a lot of us, but you are still receiving text message. So today, if I walk into in fact, I've experienced with one of the major banks, because I was working at a particular in a particular state, and I moved to Abuja, and I'm still getting message from them, even when I've closed that account. All right. And I've written to them sometime last year to say I requested that my account be closed. What that means is that I'm requesting for, I'm exercising my right as a data subject to my right to erasure, that I don't want this account anymore. So I shouldn't be receiving text message. And this is where data mapping, record of activity, record of processing activity, this is where it becomes very important. So when you collect those data, and those data sit across different platforms, and if you request that this should be taken off, are you sure that the data of that data subject or information of that data subject will immediately leave all the systems that are tied to the platform where you used to collect the data? So it is a critical issue when we talk about compliance and people understanding it. So for me, compliance is one thing, but the knowledge, and that's why we spend more time to talk to people about understanding the concept of data privacy. It is when you feel, and that's why I always feel, that's why I always hold the leadership accountable. And I like what Taufik put forward in terms of when there's no buy-in from organizational leaders, not just on projects, but on any thing that has to do with, that boils down to privacy, like we're talking here, or things that boils down to oversight function, or things that boils down to sustainability. Yeah, let me put it that way, sustainability of the organization. When the board fail to perform their duty, then definitely there's a big stick that is waiting to hit them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. That was very insightful. You laid emphasis that, one of the gaps is not that we don't have sometimes the right processes in place or the right uh, um, policies in place, but there is there's a lack of knowledge sometimes. And so there's a need for awareness, for people to understand, why are we even collecting data, the importance of consent. It's important that there is much more awareness, both at organizational level, and I would say national level as well. And of course, that arises a lot from the support of leadership. So thank you for sharing. If you are joining us again, we're still talking on the topic AI, data privacy, and GRC, building trust and resilience in the digital enterprise. If you have a question, I'm seeing some questions already. Feel free to drop it, and soon we're going to go into answering the questions. And if you also feel that you want to put on your camera and ask a question, also let us know, and we will activate that when it's time for Q&A. All right, thank you. So my next question would be to Mr. Babaeju. We've established that most organizations are adopting AI rapidly, but what are some of the biggest blind spots that leaders, maybe not just even just leaders, that leaders and employees tend to overlook, during the adoption? Or what are some of the most critical risks that maybe leaders often underestimate when it comes to the adoption of AI within an organization?
So thank you, Esther. I think you're asking me the same question twice. I've spoken to this question indirectly again. Earlier on about the risk, where you asked the yes or no question and I expatiated. So where I mentioned the data risk, the accountability risk, and trust risk. So I think you're asking me the same question in a different format. So you might want to move on to the next question. Or if you want me
All
to
right.
answer this around that adoption, I'll still do that.
Okay, so I'll
So I
ask
think we
you,
spoke about risk already.
yes, so maybe I can ask another question as it relates to adoption. So when it comes to successfully adopting AI, what would you say separates the organizations that will successfully adopt AI and those that struggle? What do you think, what are they doing differently?
So I believe most organizations are still struggling uh, because when it comes to system maturity uh, of AI, we're not talking about technology here. So successful organizations align AI, to clear business priorities. So I was having a conversation with a top executive of a very large organization recently, and we're talking about AI adoption. And the question I asked is, have you established the governance early? Because whatever you're trying to do, what is the governance structure that is going to support it? It's just like information security management. We need to create a governance framework for AI in our organization so that there's a policy that guides AI adoption, so that within this organization, what kind of tools are we using? How are we using AI? What part of our business um, would do enable AI to take decisions, and what kind of decisions will be human-based decision? Okay, how are we going to augment our decision making or our task with AI? So I'll say successful organization align AI to clear business priorities first, and they establish clear governance framework very early, and also invest in people and capability. I think this investment in people and capability can never be overemphasized. That is one of the outcome of Intech Summit last year, which Mr. Ayodeji Rex was one of the speakers, and also the technical lead of the summit. So for those of us that still struggle, uh, we treat AI as a tech project, not knowing that we're embarking on a total transformation of the organization. And there's also lack of ownership and structure with the organization that struggle, well, or that will be struggling with AI. Then also there is just like every other speaker has said here today, we ignore, they will be doing a lot of ignoring of data and trust, because AI would expose your weakness at a scale that you would not, imagine, and also amplify your strength in a good way as well. So um, I'll say, scaling AI is not about models. It's about building an organization that can govern and trust its own decision. So governance and trust are a key deciding factor for organizational AI maturity. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much. I captured, I think, 4 things that you said that are key for organizations that have actually successfully adopted or scaled AI. The first thing you said is they ensure to align AI to business priority. They establish governance framework. They also invest in people, and then they have ownership and structure. So thank you for sharing. Now to I think my next question would be to Mr. Sylvanus, but I'll still like to get feedback from Mr. Rex on it. So from your own experience, what would you say, again, since our topic is still drilling down to building trust and resilience, right? How we're using AI, data privacy, and GRC to build trust. So in your own experience, what would you say causes organizations to lose trust the fastest? Would you say it's technology failure, data breaches, or poor governance?
All right, I know the first thing that will come to mind when people look at it is, you think maybe technology failure. Of course, maybe for users, technology failure can unsettle user. But I think your question is, what causes organization to lose trust fastest? So for me, it's just poor governance. That poor governance is the trust killer. So let's look at technology or even data breach. Will definitely happen, and it will shake our confidence when it happens. But people can forgive those if the organization responds well. So it depends on how we respond to technology failure or even data breaches. And what makes us to respond well is how good our governance system is. So systems can break, hackers can attack at any time. It happens. What people don't forgive easily is when it happens, they will just tell you should have known better, and you didn't act, you didn't do anything, and that is governance. So poor governance shows up as confusion when you are not governing well. And there's a lot of confusion, slow response, lack of accountability, or sometimes when you see people don't even say anything, silence. That is what drops trust the fastest. So for me, I will look at it as poor governance is the fastest trust killer. So let's even look at it one after the other. Let's look at technology failure. Of course, like I've said before, it does happen. Even before this meeting, I was trying to join. I first joined with my phone, and then I realized that I needed to join with my laptop. And just when I was about joining with my laptop, the network I was using for the laptop failed, and I struggled for a very long time before I could finally resolve. That is technology failure. It happens at every moment in time. What about data breaches? Every now and then, even right in our own personal life, you see somebody hacked into your own phone, your bank account, everybody cry here and there. It happens. But what is most important when all of this happen is the response, and that is you don't respond well when there is poor governance. So nobody's actually what it means when you don't respond well. It means that nobody is in control. That is the result of poor governance. So, and once that perception is set that nobody is in control when bad thing happens, so people will lose trust fastest. So for me, in all of this, it's poor governance rather than the technology. Of course, the other ones will happen. When it happens, it will damage, but how we respond to it. So if you ask me, I will say technology fails, data breaches, damage trust, but poor governance destroys it because it tells people the problem isn't the incident. Maybe it's just the leadership behind the problem. So that is what I will say to that. I don't know if that answers your questions.
Excellent response. Mr. Abitogun, do you align with Mr. Silvanos? Do you have, a different opinion? Let's hear from you as well.
Well, thank you very much. While I agree with Mr. President, iCentra President, my very good friend, on holding on, poor governance. But again, I tend to defy a little because in terms of what causes organizations to lose trust fastest, all right, we have to look at it from what is closer to people, all right, and that is availability of service, all right. So when there's a breach, not even availability of service, because availability of service has to do with, let's say, technology failure, like you talk about. All right. So technology failure, people can still have patience to say, you know what? Well, let's give him some time. He can restart the system, and we'll wait for him. If we go with poor governance, is not something that materializes quick. It happens slowly. But when there's a data breach, everybody knows immediately. All right. And if you want to, of course, because it's in public domain, we can talk about it. If you want to know how fast issues of data breach can move, ask Sterling Bank, ask CAC, ask Remita. In the last couple of weeks, these organizations, these are big organizations, right? And they have experienced this. Within few minutes, my phone, I got different messages, people, of course, from the hackers who first tweet about how he has attacked those organizations. So for me, I think the fastest thing in terms of losing trust is data breach. Because when you don't have good governance in place, people may not notice on time. So you can you can be painting the building, all right, painting it well. Why I agree that governance is foundational. Every other thing builds on it, because when you have strong leadership within your organization, definitely things will fall in place. All right. But in terms of the fastest way to lose trust is data breach. However, in order not to be on the fast lane of losing trust, of reputational damage, then you need credible leaders to be in place. So for me, it is about data breach. All right. However, you need strong leadership to be in place to prevent data breach as well as technology failure. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. In fact, I think I need to bring Mr. Babaeju into this conversation because I like that we're having, we're having diverse opinion, and I mean it's just interesting. So I hear Mr. Silvano say that yes, tech failure happens, yes, data breaches happen, but everything lies on governance, how we act, how we respond shows accountability over time. And then and of course, stating the importance of governance. And then I'm also, listening to the perspective of Mr. Abitugo, whilst agreeing with Mr. Silvanus, right, still, feels that data breaches would, damage or make customers to lose trust the fastest. So I'd like to hear from
Yeah,
Mr.
Esther, before Baba
Babayaji.
Yeju comes in, my apology. Before Baba Yeju comes in, let me just say a word. Of course,
Okay.
Mr. Rex is a data privacy expert. You don't expect him to say otherwise. It's just as a bias towards data breaches.
Okay. Well, I feel like Mr. Babayaji will move towards governance as well because that's his core area. But then let's hear from him. Mr. Babayaji, what's your opinion?
Okay, so you're putting me on the spot now, because there are two giants here that are having varying opinions, and and they're my guys. One is my president in Isaka, and the other one is my technical chairman, committee chairman. So on whose side should I? But let me stay on the side of not on any side, but on the side of what I feel. Um, I believe governance is the foundation. Okay, when data breaches happen in organization, yes, the organization will lose credibility faster, but can be forgiving by how well they respond. And that response is completely a result of the governance system within the organization. Who owns what? How do we respond? And how, in the cases of breaches, which will happen, there'll be technology failures, there'll be breaches, but how do we treat, what's within our organization? So I think, yes, the symptoms is data breaches, but the foundation, which is the actual sickness of an organization, would be the governance. I hope I'm making sense. So that way, I think I've
Yeah, in between.
conveniently stayed in between these two brides.
Creating a good balance. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. So I'll take some because we've been getting a lot of engagement and questions on the chat. But I had said that if somebody has a question, they can feel free to raise their hands. We have Mr. Yazi. Mr. Yazi is one of our alumni, actually from at iCentra Learning, and I think he just got his PhD. So congratulations, sir. Thank you for joining. Please, I'll just ask that his mic, he's allowed to put on his mic and his camera so that he can ask his question. Mr. Yazi, please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Esther. I really appreciate your congratulations and thank you for celebrating with me and my family and the whole, my people in the community who I represent, primarily, but Nigeria at large here in the United Kingdom. Right, it's a serious battle.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so you said I should on my camera. Yeah.
No, it's fine. Yes, go ahead and ask your
Thank you.
question.
I look somehow because I'm busy. I was on my system since morning, trying to make some corrections on my PhD work. I can't even realize that I did not even, take my lunch, and time has gone. All right. Thank you very much, speakers. I think I've written a name here, Ayodeji, because you make some a contribution that really touches me, more especially about the leadership credibility in terms of adoption of technology within organization, which I find it very much interesting, and it really aligned with some of the findings of one of my friend. That particular phrase really aligned with one of his core PhD findings. So my, I think, is not much about the question. I think it's more about, a general perspective about how we look things more, especially within the Nigerian context. When I was in primary school, the same things. When I was in secondary school, the same thing. And same thing when I am right now at the level of having a PhD, is the issue of having a credible leaders. Elections come, elections gone. Various leaders come out with a different manifestation, manifest. But the problem is that I couldn't see any changes. That really empirical changes that we as grown adults, can really say, oh, these people have really come with something that can affect not only organization, but can make a credibility of the whole people within the country, or the Nigerian image at large. So, to be honest, you talk about the adoption of technology within the context of organization. We talk about to adopt the technology. I know it's not the biggest issue in Nigerian context, because if you look at what are the more important components that make people to adopt the technology, one, if they take the technology is simple or is easy to use, people can definitely
When can I know? Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry. Loan, please unmute. Yeah, mute. Thank you. Go ahead,
Oh,
please.
okay. So if the technology is simple based on the one of the theory of technology adoption, if technology is simple or is easy to use, people may definitely adopt it. I've seen countless research, thousands of research that talk about the adoption of technology within organization. So I think Nigeria, as one of the emerging economy, adopting technology is not an issue. The biggest issue is having the credible leaders, like Ayodeji mentioned. This lack of credibility is really what is eating Nigeria deep into our fabrics, right? People cannot trust us wherever you go. You can't celebrate, you can't even differentiate between the good, the bad, and the ugly. As far as you are a Nigerian, no matter how good you are, you understand. The first impression, are you a Nigerian? Yes, you are a Nigerian. The first impression is this guy will never tell the truth. So this issue of credibility, these are the enablers or the major drivers of trust. And if you cannot make this one as the basis, you understand, how can you trust people? It's one of the challenges. I've told you we have best Nigerians everywhere you go, one of the best in any organization you may think of, right? But the biggest challenge is hardly for some people feel ashamed to even identify themselves with their country because of this lack of credibility. And the issue now is not only about adopting technology like, artificial intelligence, which is the new normal right now in every organization, but how can we make that image, right? How can we change that narrative? How can we change this perspective for us, for other people to see us as credible people so that we can be able to do things that can be trusted? Yes, issue of breaches, everywhere you go, there is breaches. There is no way you can, say 100% my organization data cannot be breached. I work with the NHS. um,
Okay, so I think we're struggling to hear you. But I think I've taken note of your
can you hear me
comments.
now?
Yes, laying emphasis on governance. I was just trying to summarize most of what I hear you say. Agreeing with Mr. Abitogun and I mean Mr. Babayeju and Mr. Silvanus on the importance of governance still being the foundation, right? Once we can get governance right, then there is more accountability. Even when we have data breaches, when systems fail, right? Once there is governance, there would still be trust. Yes, so thank you so much, Mr. Yazi, for chipping in and also sharing your comment. Right. So I have some other questions in the comments I think I would like to take because we are away. We still have some time to go. And this question was directed at Mr. Rex. The question is from Ulumuyiwa and it says, has there been a major sanction on organizations for non-compliance? I'm sure he's probably related to your work with the Nigerian Data Protection Act. Is there any particular sanction for non-compliance that maybe you can share with us as an example?
Well, has there been sanction? Yes, there has been sanction. However, the commission, to the best of my knowledge, their focus is not really about sanction at the moment. Their focus is on creating enough awareness. And of course, just like the last speaker said, sorry, I can't remember his name now, the doctor, congratulations on your PhD, though, that technology adoption, people adopt technology when it's easy to use, friendly, all right? The same way here, in terms of policy, in terms of the law, the last 2 years, the commission has spent quite a lot of resources, time to create awareness, adequate awareness. However, are people complying? Yes. Are people being sanctioned? Yes. Are organizations being sanctioned? Yes. And I think one notable one, which I'll mention, is Fidelity Bank. I'm sure a couple of us will read about it early last year. All right, but there are a couple of other investigation that the commission is doing, and at times when you are invited for investigation, it's not really about the sanction. All right, at times it could be just to have an insight into what happened. What measures do you have in place? Don't forget um, your measures, all right, may fail and possibly it's not from you. And those are the things that they will look at. I'm equally offer advice on how you can improve. But again, when you fail to implement those things, or when there has been series of communication to say you need to establish this, or when they observe some things that could be a threat to citizens. Okay, don't forget that the whole thing about privacy is about safety of citizens. So at times when they observe that you've been cautioned, you've been advised, and you fail, then definitely you'll be sanctioned. So yes, there has been sanction. Big organizations have been sanctioned. Some of them are in the news. You can read about it. And there are a couple of investigations going on. So maybe in the coming years, in the coming days or months, you possibly will be hearing about more sanction. But I think the focus of the organization, the focus of the commission really is to help to secure, because what is the essence of sanctioning? And the problem is still there, or the challenge is still there. All right. So what is more important is helping businesses, helping organizations to do the right thing. And once this is done, then all of us can be proud of a safe digital space. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. We have another question that I'll take, and I think I'll direct this question to, okay, this question actually is for Mr. Abitogo again. Your name was highlighted. And the next question will be from Mr. Babaji. It says, in the case where, and this from Ayodele, it says, in a case where senior executives drive data privacy awareness, when there is resistance from employees, how should this be addressed?
It's just like saying that in a case um, where staff decide to have their own time or have their own way of doing things, that's the implication of this. That's the way I look at this
For their
question.
own uniform.
You say what?
They decide to have their own separate uniform.
Exactly, or they decide to have their own separate uniform. Well, I'll answer this in two ways. Two ways from leadership perspective, as well as from manager perspective. As a leader, yours is to influence decisions and to be empathetic about some issues. So you may want to invite this is my PMP now talking, right? You may want to invite that particular staff or those staff one-on-one and let them see the reason for it, all right? And let them understand that it is not about the organization, it is about they themselves. However, if they fail, then there should be sanction, just like the model that has been proven to work. When somebody refuses to change, instead of allowing that particular employee, all right, to continue to be cause problem within the organization, the relationship will still be maintained, but the relationship will have to be from outside this time. So rather than keeping the employee within your organization, you can allow the employee to go to an organization where things will be allowed to be done his own way, but the person will still remain your friend. But just that will mean you don't have to pay the person. That's the way I look at it. So first, invite the person, counsel the person, let the person understand.
Okay, I wanted to be sure that wasn't from me. I think maybe he's having again. We have said that technology fails, right?
Yeah, I mean, like what we're saying, technology fails interruption. So, but that's the summary of it. Invite that employee, let them see that it is not about the organization. Privacy is about privacy is should be everybody's concern. Employer as well as management and the board. So it is everybody's responsibility, and it is issue of accountability as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. This question goes to Mr. Babayajo. It says, given the evolving nature of AI with attendant risk, in your considered opinion, is AI an enabler in achieving digital trust? So you're muted, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so if I would answer this question very, very shortly, what I'll say is that AI by itself does not create trust by its actual nature. However, on the other hand, AI can significantly enhance trust by, if we use it to improve decision making accuracy through data insights, which AI can do. If we would apply it to, enabling real-time, risk detection, and in financial sector, something called fraud detection. Also use it to strengthen cybersecurity through predictive capabilities, or maybe we use it for enhancing transparency where properly designed. So AI by its nature cannot, you know, give us trust. But if we govern AI, and this is where AI governance actually come in. So the rights, if we put the right structure, AI can also, introduce. If sorry, without the right structure, AI can, produce a threat, a serious risk by itself. So I hope that answers the question.
All right, I'm sure it does. Thank you so much. Before I go to the next question, again, like I had said earlier, that the Transform by iCentra webinar is something we do every month. And so for those who are, of course, interested in joining our subsequent webinar, I would just implore you to, just take your phone and, I think my team will drop the link in the comments. Please feel free to follow iCentra and iCentra Learning on all social media platforms, and also subscribe to our newsletter, just so that, you're always part of the conversation for our subsequent webinars. So now to Mr. Silvanus, and I think Mr. Okay, no, not that question. How does governance, or should I say not just governance, how does GRC act as an integration layer between AI, data privacy, and enterprise performance? So how does GRC act as the integration layer between AI, data privacy, and enterprise performance? I'd like to hear your comment, and then I'd also like to hear from Mr. Abitogun, your own comment as well.
All right, the integration layer, more like the coordinating point. Okay, let us think of GRC, that's governance, risk and compliance. Let's picture how the control tower works. So let's look at GRC as the control tower of the organization. And then let us now picture AI flying very fast. And then data privacy is setting the rules of the airspace. Let's use that as an analogy. So Enterprise performance is the passenger in this case, trying to reach its destination on time. So GRC is what keeps everything coordinated so that nothing crashes, like the control tower. It's managing this, looking at AI, which is like the aeroplane that is flying very fast, data privacy, all the rules that have been put in place at the airport and the rest of it. And then at the enterprise performance, is that passenger flying. So let's look at it in that direction. Now, AI teams want to move fast. That is where we are now. Everybody just wants to make things easy for the organization and go back to the privacy things. They want to be very careful how they do things, and the business wants results. So you see the conflicting goal. Somebody wants to, I want to be very fast so that our decision will be fast. The privacy team, just take it easy so that we don't make mistake. And the business, all I want is give me profit. I want to meet my objective. So now GRC now translate all these three into one language so that instead of just saying this is risky, GRC now helps leadership understand the trade-offs between all of these three. So what's the impact on the revenue? That's the question GRC is asking now. On reputation, on compliance, the way AI and data decisions are tied directly to business performance. So these are the interconnections. So enterprise performance isn't just profit anymore. So it's about trust. It's about GRC ensures AI systems are fair, data is handled responsibly, and customers feel safe. So that is what is in. So simply put, without GRC, now AI, data privacy, and business goals operate like three separate departments with different agendas. But with GRC now, they operate like team with a shared playbook. Just okay, let's coordinate ourselves together. So what that means is that GRC is the glue that turns smart technology, sensitive data, business ambition into sustainable performance. All of this come together without necessarily creating any kind of chaos. I don't know if I am able to make any sense though. Just trying to like wrap my head around it.
Thank you. And I think everybody appreciates the illustration. It just gives it makes it more relatable, right? It makes it more relatable. Thank you. Mr. Abitogu, I don't know if you're still with us. Are you able to
Yeah,
just
can you hear
quickly
me?
add on? Yes. Are you able to quickly add on? So the question is about how GRC acts as the integration layer between AI, data privacy, and enterprise performance. And we've just heard from Mr. Silvanus. I wanted you to also just chip in on that question.
Okay, let me start by thanking Silvanus for that analogy and bringing it close home. I totally agree with him. It is about what do we need in terms of business agility. It is about speed. It is about performance, right? It is about equally sustainability, safety, privacy, and also risk. So the way I look at it is GRC, governance, risk, and compliance will help to achieve performance in terms of utilization of artificial intelligence. All right, and again, it leads to ethical, which I think Taufik mentioned that earlier on. It leads to ethical use of artificial intelligence. It leads to ethical collection of data that train these models, these AI models, and which also will lead to performance. Because remember, we say garbage in, garbage out at the basic level, right? So what GRC brings is direction, is performance, is protecting the business in terms of safeguarding customer data stakeholder data, and also helping managing risk. So for me, I believe that GRC is very important, and I must thank the president of iSACA and his team in terms of what iSACA Abuja is doing in relation to promoting the knowledge of GRC. Of course, I'm a proud member of that chapter. So GRC is very important for organizations, for businesses, and I totally agree with him. And at this point, I can't even go against my president when it comes to GRC. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As we get closer to, to the end of our discussion, and I'd like to ask this question to Mr. Babaeju and also get the feedback from Mr. Silvano. So again, our topic has been on AI, data privacy, and GRC, right? Building trust and resilience in the digital enterprise. So what do you think is one of the most critical action that organization must take today? Or if organizations probably look back, oh, what would be an action that they're like, oh, we wish we did this earlier. So what would be one of the most critical actions that you recommend organizations to take today if they must build trust in the digital enterprise?
Okay. Thank you. That's a very important question. It combines so many things. So if an organization is to build trust, just like we said earlier on, and I said I was having a conversation with the CEO, a very top management, close to CEO, to say, hey, we are thinking about our AI strategy, and the question is, have you thought about the governance side of AI, or you want to employ AI, but have you thought about the governance side of it? So if an organization needs to build trust, they need to um, institutionalize GRC within the organization. That is number one. Number two, we need to have leadership commitments. So it's at all level to have commitments, not just CAI or digital transformation as a unit or departmental efforts, but to see it as this is where the world is going right now, and what is our organizational positioning towards this, and that trust, whether it's in data privacy, whether it's in AI adoption, needs to be clearly communicated to all stakeholders, whether customers, whether when you talk about stakeholders, whether customers, team members, so that your declaration or your manifesto, like we say, Agile manifesto, should be clear around what is the position of your organization. So what are the governance framework that guides you know this fast-paced environment of AI, data privacy, and again, one of those things to do is compliance. So when you comply, then how do you sustain those that compliance in terms of the governance system that sustains it? And again, like we do in audits, you say you have it, show me. Okay. So you need to to display, to your customers, to your stakeholders, what your position is, what the remedies would be if there is a data breach, for example, because we know the position of this organization and what they have said as to what will be the response time, and how we have said we're going to protect your data. And because we know that we can hold them accountable, for any decision because of the integrity of the organization, of course. And that is why we have, increase, compliance for, we call it ISO 27001. Even there's a governance framework also for AI now. I think it's 5001. If my memory serves me right. So organizations must invest not only in in the adoption of AI, but also create systems that governs it, responsibility owners, and what will be the response mechanism when there are, when there are breaches, whether data breaches or whether there are compliance issue within the organization. I hope this helps a little bit.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much for your feedback. I think two things I noted again, which has been one of the emphasis of this discussion, would be the importance of governance and leadership commitment. So, Mr. Silvanus, do you want to add on to that? And the question is, what do you think is the most critical action that organizations must take today to build digital trust in the digital enterprise?
Yeah, Mr. Taufik has said it all. Just to add a little bit, if it were to be kind of in my village, when we go hunting, usually when somebody stay ahead of you to kill the game, you're more like, oh, I should have been the one killing this. He has said all I should say. I think it's just to add a little bit to what he has said and not to repeat him again. Let me go back to my opening remark uh, where I talked about, we're talking about trust here. And one of the key foundation of trust is accountability. So, and accountability means you are like open, you are very clear. Let me go back to the relationship matter, husband and wife matter. So if from the beginning, if you are very accountable, you're transparent with your spouse, oh, this is where I'm going to, and she more like test it, find you there, maybe give you a month, oh, this is where I'm going to, this is what I'm doing. And over time, you've been consistent. Of course, that now we sustain the trust. And that is what I will advise organizations. So let's stay accountable for data collection, digital decisions. Let's make everything very plain and clear. And let the organizations also enforce it. So in other words, who is responsible for what? So what data is being used in all of it? So when we are collecting data, we have to make it very clear. This is exactly what we are using the data for. Let's not going to use it for something else. Like Mr. Deji said in one of his submissions, that of course, you open a bank account. I gave you my data to open a bank account. I didn't give you data to give to customer to start selling markets to me. Of course, that is going beyond the bound of what that data was collected for. So let's make it very clear and open. So while decisions are being made, let's make it very clear. Let's not hide anything about it. So in practice, organizations must clearly assign ownership of data systems, AI outcomes, ensure decisions are traceable, make governance visible and active, not buried in policy. Don't just hide anything, just make it very clear. I think with accountability, trust can be built. And I don't know, I've been blabbing. I don't know if I've made sense. Esther.
Yes, you have. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. So we have a few minutes till we wrap up. I would just like to implore everyone to just kind of get your camera ready, because in another 5-10 minutes, we'll just take like a general group picture. Yes, as we wrap up. So I think my final question for today, before we take the closing remark, at the end of the day, the outcome when we spoke, like based on our topic, AI, data privacy, and GRC, the outcome again is that we are building trust and resilience in the digital enterprise. So my final question will be, before we take the closing remark, would be, so what does a trusted digital enterprise look like in practice? right? What would be, if we say a digital enterprise is trusted, what does that look like in practice? And I'd like Mr. Abitogun to answer that question.
Thank you very much. Yes. Excuse me. Thank you, Esther. For me, what it means is that the organization has gone from level 1 in terms of uh, privacy maturity index to level 4 or level 5. And what that means is that the organization has been able to understand that compliance is not just a checkbox. The organization has been able to understand that compliance is is a value creation uh, tool. All right. So, and it means that the organization understand that. Sorry, there's somebody talking. Okay, so the organization, yes, the organization has been able to invest.
I'll try. Okay, I
Please,
found the
can we mute
person
everybody?
and I've muted the person. Please go ahead.
Okay, now this brings back that argument in terms of what travel fast. You can see this interruption. Everybody got to understand that somebody interrupted. That's the way bridge works. So again, what this also translates to is that we have a leader who was able to quickly identify that breach and respond to that person that interrupt, either unknowingly unmute his mic and interfere with the conversation. So I must thank Esther for that. So what it means is that the leadership understand clearly that privacy is about sustainability. The leadership understand clearly that privacy is about accountability. And they are not just doing it because it is nice to do or it is a must do. All right. They are living it and people are seeing it. And what that is equally translate to from my own perspective is that it will help to bring value to the system. It will also promote reputation. It will promote trust within the ecosystem. Any organization that invest in, that take compliance serious, definitely understand that sustainability is very, very important. So for me, the winning organizations are not the most compliant organization, really. They are the most intelligently governed organization. So what that means is that from the top down to every stakeholders within the organization, they must understand and see GRC as a value added and a value creation process. So from the governance to the team that work on daily basis to attend to customers, they must take compliance serious. They must equally because risk management, enterprise risk management is everybody's business, and that must be taken serious. So on that note, I say thank you for the time and the conversation. But for me, like I said, my parting statement is that the winning organizations are not the most compliant organization. They are the most intelligently governed organization. What that means is that they leave data, they analyze data, they make decisions based on the data they've collected, and also equally use data to predict the future of the organization. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So before we get the closing remark from Mr. Babayaju and also Mr. Sylvanus, our iCentra learning team has some, shall I call it, some goodies for us. We have of course, iCentra Learning offers both certification and non-certification training and courses that are related to IT in the area of cybersecurity, AI, incident management, and business continuity. So these are some of the courses that we have available, and of course, they are not just it's not just limited to this. So feel free to go to learning at icentra.com and view some of the offers that we have. And for those who are attending the webinar today, we are also offering you a 20% discount on any of the courses that you have. I think the coupon code is going to come up on the screen shortly, so you can take advantage of the 20% discount that we're offering on all our AI, cybersecurity, and project management related courses. Also note that these offers will expire in 72 hours. So feel free to scan the coupon code. The number is on the screen. You can also call us, or you can visit learning at icentra.com or icentra.com just to see what we have available for you. So please take advantage of it because it expires in 72 hours. So as we wrap up, we will take closing remark, just straight to the point in a minute. I'll listen. We hear from Mr. Babaeju and then Mr. Silvanus. Somebody asked a question that I've seen has repeated, even though we don't have a lot of time. So maybe in your closing remark, Mr. Babaeju, I would like you to touch on that. So we have Mr. Silvanus first and then yourself. So the question says, has anyone or organization looked into the claims of AI tools that they do not use mostly? Okay, let me take the question anymore. Has any organization or anyone looked into the claims of AI tools just to be sure that they do not use mostly organization-fed data into paid plans to train their models? I worry that even when info is redacted before being fed into these models, it might not be as safe as we think. I'll be happy to get insight around this. Okay, it's actually quite an interesting and valid question. So maybe Mr. Babaeju, you can chip in on that. Mr. Abitogun, if you want to add on that as well. But let's take the closing remark from Mr. Silvanus as we wrap up. You're muted, sir.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. On a final note for me, say what is the most critical action organization must take to build trust? Is that the question?
No, just your closing remark based on everything, based on all our discussion. What is that final word that you want our attendee to take home today?
Okay, it's basically around trust. Like I said, and it's part of my opening remark. Let me also conclude in that way too. Trust. So as an organization, what is that thing that you will do that will make people like to come around you? So basically, you have to give them that assurance that whatever they have of you, it's not going to go anywhere. Also, in practice, you have to also find a way of giving them that assurance. Generally, most organizations, they operate in a kind of opaque manner. So, and that is what make people really to like deterred to move away from them. So, governance actually has a lot to do with how we make people to be attracted to us. Let me take, for instance, the fintech of those days now, this day now. Everybody wants to open account with the fintech, the OP of our generation, you name it. So that is because of availability. That is because of the sureness of the value they deliver. Personally, I don't know. I don't know. I've not found that confidence to have an account with them. But the Gen Zs, almost everybody, moving beyond the Gen Zs now, and that is because of how reliable they are in terms of the value, the availability of their network, unlike the conventional banking system. So for me, if you want people to believe in you, you have to stay reliable. You have to give people what they want. And that will be my parting word. So, and as much as possible, try to be open, try to be clear, try to be accountable, try to be trustworthy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, iCentra, for the opportunity.
All right, thank you so much for your valuable insights. So closing remark from Mr. Baiju.
Again, I want to thank you, Esther, and the whole webinar team for a very rich and insightful topic, and the speakers also for the discussion that we've had today. My parting shot is going to be around AI and governance, and I'll sum it up in one sentence. AI, just like any emerging technology, um, will deliver a lot of immense potential. The governance will determine whether that potential is turned into value or risk. That is my parting shots. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. It's just 1 minute to 5. Thank you so much to everybody for staying with us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you once again to all our facilitators and our speakers for the excellent insight. Please follow us on all social media platforms at iCentra and iCentra Learning. And also the link to the speakers, I can see that their LinkedIn profile is on the comments. Please feel free to follow. And I would see you in the next edition of the Transform by iCentra webinar. Have a lovely day ahead. Thank you so much and goodbye.